Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. I'm your host, Kieran Stewart, and we've got a full crowd in today for the Manchester Derby special. We've got, next to me, Simon Powell. How you doing, Simon?
Evening, everyone.
On our bottom right, we've got Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
All right, Kieran. Hello, everyone.
And on our bottom left, we've got Nathan Ellington. How you doing, Nathan?
All good. Good.
All right, that sounds ominous. We've got, it's a busy one tonight. We've also got Lee Allinson joining us, Hendon FC manager, and it's the first time we're going live on Facebook today as well. So to anyone listening on Facebook, watching on Facebook, welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. Hope you enjoy. We've got a star-studded crew here every week. Make sure you join us. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel KS1 TV, and let's get this underway. All right. Nathan, the week started badly, and then it got, I don't know,
Stagnant.
Boring. Yeah, stagnant, boring. Did it end well? I mean, you could say not losing was probably the main thing. But give us a little rundown. Start off with the Leipzig game.
Right, so obviously went into the Leipzig game needing just a point at least.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going into a game that we've just beaten a team, you know, I can't remember what the score was, 5-0 was it at home? So you thought, you know, being a bit optimistic that we could at least get a point from the game. And we go into the game and we're totally outrun. We're outplayed. And I'm watching the game thinking, is anybody going to pick up that left back that was playing at City last season, who we absolutely tore him up last season? This guy's playing like he's the best left back in the world. Like, yeah. Why hasn't Ole told him to like mark him out the game? Because Leipzig, that's their only outlet, really, their only major outlet. He just kept getting in or down the left, even though we had 7 defensive players on the pitch. Couldn't handle it for some reason. And I know why we couldn't handle it. I've worked it out now, but I'm going to explain that after. Right. We're just letting them get. Well, they were really good. They were pressuring us, won the ball, and then just kept getting in off left side. So we're getting the ball in, get us a great goal, and then they get another goal, and we're 2-0 before you know it. And you know, as you could see with the team we had, we weren't really going to do much. We still had some good chances. To be fair, could have scored. But in the end, we just got overran, and we should have even gone another goal down. Luckily, it was offside. And then we luckily got a goal back from that Maguire kind of, you know, I think who scored now? It was an own goal and a goal from... they were both lucky goals anyway.
Yeah, it was Maguire, wasn't it? Yeah.
I remember it was Maguire. And then it was an own goal. That was the own goal, the Maguire one. And who scored before that? Was it Bruno penalty? The penalty he scored because of Greenwood got taken down. So that one there is a bit of a light penalty. Obviously Bruno stuck away. Then the OG, which was, you know, a bit of a lucky one. And then last minute they nearly scored an own goal themselves again to make it.
Yeah, that was a good save. That
would have been an amazing comeback, but not really deserved. So that game, I was really disappointed with the way we ended up playing, and especially going defensive and not being defensive. That was even worse, even more worrying. So I wasn't too happy about that, to be fair.
Stark contrast from the 5-0 win last time. What was the issue?
Well, the issue was we went too defensive. We didn't stamp our authority on the game at all. We didn't want to play our way, thinking, you know what, the best way to protect a 1-1, to make sure you get a 1-1, is to try and get some goals, knowing that we haven't got a defence good enough for Champions League anyway. Why don't we just go out there and try and get some goals? You know, like when we go 1-0 down or 2-0 down and then we turn it on. How about trying to turn that on at the beginning? And then at least if you let a goal in or two, you've at least got your goal or two already anyway. But instead, we went the total opposite and got whooped. Simple as that. We got outplayed 100%.
Yeah,
Amy, please, you can't make noise.
and just in time, we've just been joined by Lee Allinson. How you doing, Lee?
Very well, guys. Yourself?
We're just about to quickly get a little roundup of the Manchester derby, the thrilling Manchester derby. Nathan, and then so after RB Leipzig, you consolidate maybe, don't lose. Man City would be a big one to lose, and you didn't. So, silver lining, bright side, or was you still disappointed in it?
No. Was not happy at all. We didn't go for it at all. We were trying to sit back. I think I know what happened in the end. We were trying to sit back, expecting City to come onto us and fall into the traps that they've fallen into in the past. Now City, they're no longer the City they were before anyway. So now they're the same, a bit more vulnerable at the back. So I think Pep decided there. He said, you know what, we're not going to fall into that trap. And we'll just get our goals because we're better than them anyway. Even if they try and keep it tight, we'll get our goal and then they'll have to come out. Then we'll get more goals. But it didn't work out. They didn't get the first goal. We didn't get to counter on them with 3 players. I don't know how we could counter with just 3 players anyway. But it then ended up being a very boring derby. One of the most boring derbies I've ever watched in my life. I was not happy. But again, when you look at it, if I was in Ole's shoes, knowing the squad I've got, knowing what I've got to do, if I try and go a bit more expansive, I know what's going to happen at the back. So it's one of them things. Knowing the situation United's in at the moment, they can't do any more than that. That's their level right now. We've got defenders who that's their level, and that's what we have to do. We have to play what we've got, and that's what we did. So I'm not happy.
Both teams just didn't want to attack at all, literally. What I couldn't work out is when Man United fans were saying Luke Shaw, man of the match, was perfect. Sorry, where was it when Mahrez was through?
Yeah.
But he left Mahrez and Mahrez was clean through.
He was good defensively. I think he was really good defensively. But again, we didn't really have anything going forward after that. And that's why Telles didn't play. He probably thought, let's nullify their attack and let's put Shaw in because he's more defensive-minded than Telles. Because if Telles gets caught up there, then obviously they can get a goal by having extra man. That's why he decided that. But again, it's one of them ones where he's got to make the decision based on the squad that he's got. And to be fair, it's one of them crazy ones where I don't want to see it, but I know why he did it. You know what I mean? It's one of them ones.
Lee, do you think that United could have not maybe been a bit more expansive, but try to do something a bit more in the game? I mean, it's a derby. You want to see. I felt there was no bite. There was no urgency. It was so flat. It was like a friendly.
I think you said it earlier. I think Man United set up not to be beat. But I think that's a sad state of affairs as a Man United fan, because Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. And when you set up at home not to be beat, I think we're in a very bad place, especially in a local derby against Man City, local rivals. You want to go and make a statement. And unfortunately, Man United are not in a position anymore to make a statement. So they've come away from their Man United and they're happy with a point. I think it's very difficult when there's no crowd to get behind you. You look at the old derbies you used to have, your tackles flying in, your first to every ball, the first and second ball. It wasn't like that. It was very much, we'll defend you, we'll try and hit you on the counter. City didn't really want to come out. They were happy with the draw. And I think Man United are absolutely miles away from being anywhere near what they need to be title contenders, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I think I'm with you on that one. What is it you think you need?
I think the team is a little bit lopsided. I think they need a centre forward, an out and out centre forward. Listen, when teams come at Man United, they're very, very good on the counter attack. But I still feel that being one of the biggest clubs, you need that big name, that big centre forward that's going to get you 20, 30 goals a season. And I think that's what they lack personally. A big, powerful striker. They've always had it, whether it's Van Persie, whether it was Rooney before that, whether it's Van Nistelrooy. They've always had that forward. I think the midfield two are not right. I don't think he knows his best two in there. I think he's you've got Van der Beek. We spoke about him before. It's obviously not his signing. He's technically great, but can you have him and Fernandes in the same side? It doesn't look like it. Fernandes for me is going to be one of the best players in the world. I think he's very, very good. technically, you know, he can pass the ball for fun. He takes risks. But the two behind him are not right. You know, Fred and McTominay, yeah, they're good players, but are they good enough to win leagues? I don't think they are. Are they good enough to take us to the next level? And I don't think they are. And then defensively, I think you've got problems. I think the lack of pace at times, you know, is a problem. We've always had two leaders as centre halves. I think we've got an okay back four, but we need more. You know, Maguire will do a job. He's solid. He wins his headers, but you know he does lack pace. Full back, the right side is good. Wan-Bissaka, I like him. Left hand side, you know, I think there's a place there for grabs. And it's just not quite right, the side. I think it needs more. It needs world-class players. They're a world-class football club. And at the moment, I don't see that. I think they're nearly there. And it does take, you know, listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, and it takes time to build football sides. That's a fact. You know, so they're not a million miles away. I'm just not sure, you know, if Solskjaer's the right man to move that club forward. You know, I think they need a big name at that football club. Will attract big players. You know, they've spent a lot of money, and for me, they haven't spent it on the right personnel. Personally, I think they can get better for what they've spent. But that comes with being in Europe. That comes with winning trophies, and that comes with a real name as a manager, in my opinion.
All right. So that's maybe the next step for you, Steve. I know you watched the game. What did you think it was missing?
It's missing quite a few things. I mean, when the team was named straight away, you could see it was put up to not lose the game, and you could see that from after the first 20 minutes. You're paying two defensive midfield players. It's taking away one of your top players, one of your flair players straight away. So that's going to tell you the story of the old game. I realised they wanted to be careful. I mean, they had a very disappointing result in the middle of the week. Obviously, they don't follow it up with another disappointing result. So I get the point where you want to go out there and you want to play a bit safer. You want to be a bit careful because, you know, a loss against Man City after being knocked out the Champions League isn't going to go down very well, and the players in the dressing room, it's not going to do a lot for their confidence. But what they're missing, I mean, Lee named, we spoke about it a lot recently. They're definitely missing another centre back for me. They're missing a defensive midfield player on the sort of lines of someone about Kante, someone who can get about the pitch. McTominay's will be good again, like Lee said, he will be good, but he's very inexperienced in the moment. Matic can't get about the pitch, so they definitely need a defensive midfield player, someone who can get about the pitch, someone on the lines of Kante, someone on the lines of Decore, something like that. But you know, don't look like they'll be able to get players like as for up front. You know, I can't work out why Martial ain't getting games. You know, whenever I've seen him play, he's caused a lot of danger, caused a lot of problems for all defences. He's quick, he's fast, he's young, but he don't seem to be getting game time. But yeah, they're probably about those three players away.
All right. So on the game before, just before the Leipzig game, we saw comments from Paul Pogba. Some say it was a distraction. Some say it was badly timed. How much of an impact do you think that would have had on the players or on the game or on the manager even? Because he started, which was quite surprising for me. So how much of an impact do you think that had, Nathan?
To be fair, obviously it's not great timing. It's a silly move, to be fair, for him to tell his agent to do that and allow his agent to do that. Either way it went, it definitely obviously was approved by Pogba. You can't allow your agent to talk like that at any time unless you've approved it. So obviously we all know he's going to leave. He knows that he's probably going to be leaving at some point. It didn't need to be said. Simple as that. And then it's just unnecessary talk around the game that he didn't need. That's really what I don't like. And the fact that it was his agent, Obviously, the manager, he probably went in and said, "No, my agent said it," and then he can't really do much about it. Just say, "Look, I'm here. I'm giving my all while I'm here. You know, I want to leave anyway. I'm giving my all while I'm here. That's what I'm always going to say, and I've always done." And that's probably what the conversation they had face to face. And he said, "All right, I'm going to play you because I know you're going to give it your all," and that's it. And just tell your stupid agent to stop talking. That's what you should tell him. Look, tell him to just stop it. Like, there's no point. You're going to go anyway. You know, you might as well go. I'd rather he moves now anyway. I even like him, but I'd rather he moves on because he really doesn't want to be here. He's allowing his agent to continue saying that. He's not really putting in the performances that he's capable of. And he hasn't got the legs to play in there anyway. The kind of football we need to play and the team that we need to make now, I don't think it's weird because he's a really good player, but he needs a certain players around him with legs to do his running. So then he can do the attacking side. And what we need is someone who can do both. And unfortunately, I can't see the defensive side being that good enough that he can stay. He nearly gave away a silly foul yesterday as well. I saw him putting a silly leg in before and he nearly tackled the guy. I was like, what are you doing? You know that just happened before. Don't do that. But he seems to obviously defensively, if you're not a defensive-minded player, it's really hard to defend. So I don't blame him, but again, that's his position. So he should do better when it comes to the other side, and he can't.
You don't.
Go on, Simon.
I was going to say you don't. Obviously, it's not going to turn out like that because there's not enough time in his contract. But you don't want Pogba like a Mesut Ozil situation with Arsenal. You know, when his agent's talking about don't leave, stay, collect your wages, collect your loyalty bonus, you'll leave on a free. You don't want any of that at the minute because even though with that Manchester derby, how bad it was, you didn't lose and you got a point out of it. Yeah, and then I think you're 3 points off top anyway and you've got a game in hand. So with Pogba, I think you should just sell him in January. You'll be lucky to get 45, 50 mil for him. And I think he knows this as well. But with Pogba, and obviously stuff what I've talking to other people about, he's struggling at the minute though to find somewhere. He's struggling. So the comments that Riola brought out and the comments that Pogba's made, last time Riola said something, Pogba came out straight away, if you can remember, and dusted everything. He didn't do it this time after Riola said something. It's been a few days and now he's come out because they're out of the Champions League. They didn't win in the derby. He's had to come out and say something to try and dab the fires, basically. But for Paul Pogba, for me, I'd cash in January, mate.
Lee, what would you do about the Pogba situation? How would you deal with it, knowing that he wants to leave? You've got a player who's maybe not have a big pull in around the dressing room, but is a little bit of an influence in around the dressing room. How do you keep him happy and knowing that he wants to leave and still keep him in the team?
I think what we have to remember is we don't see what goes on every day at the training ground. So, you know, for me, Solskjaer is not afraid of leaving people out, in my opinion. And if he wasn't doing his job, I personally feel we would leave him completely out of the squad and probably go and train with the youth team. So he must be bringing something to the table. He must be training properly. He must be doing things properly. We're probably trying to get a tune out of him, which we've been trying to get out of him for the last 2.5 seasons. But we just can't seem to get one. And that is the issue. You know, I think you look at him, he's probably trained very well because there is definitely something there, but it just doesn't seem to work. It really doesn't. And you look back now, and there was a reason why Alex Ferguson got rid of him, and maybe it's coming to fruition now. But there has to be something there. The agent does what the agent does. You know, he always speaks out of turn, and that's what he wants to do to get his player the best move. The player will probably end up going to somewhere like Real Madrid, and his performances don't actually warrant a move to Real Madrid. But you know, that's what happens with the player, and he'll probably get that move. But there must be something that they see in him that they want to still keep playing him. And listen, you know, on his day, he's a very, very good player. We just haven't seen enough of it. But the only thing I can say, I believe he's still putting in the shift, and he is still doing the right things around the football club. Or I think we would have the Ozil thing where he would be training with the youth team. So, you know, he must be putting the shift in, and fair play to the lad. He probably wants out. And I think the best thing for both parties is he'd probably to go. But we've got to find some sort of way of making that midfield right, because when you bring players in like Pogba, you know, that should be working. And for some reason, it just hasn't clicked from the day that the Ferguson left. It really hasn't.
Do you think it's his position? Do you think he's just never really had that love for the club again since he's come back? What could you put it down to?
Do you know what? I really don't know. You as I say, you watch him some games and he's unplayable, and then you watch him another game and he gives the ball away so sloppily. You know, even at the level I work at now, if my player gives the ball away like he does, you're losing the plot. So, you know, the sloppiness to his play at times, it's just, you can't understand it. And then other times, you know, West Ham last week, he was awful first half. He comes up, he finishes that, and he was like a different player after that. He was unbelievable. And this is the kind of player you've got, but you have to, I think Nathan said it earlier, you have to put a protection around him. And for me, we haven't got that. We haven't got the right protection around him. We haven't got the legs around him. We can't seem to find him in an 8 or a 10 or a 4 with no real position to him. Yes, they started out on the left. The shape yesterday was so defensive-minded, in my opinion, that the minute we get the ball back, can we hit him on the counter? It didn't work. We couldn't do that, you know, and it just doesn't seem to work for the lad. So maybe we're better off to wipe our hands and let him go. But there has to be a way of you know, I feel that he should have fitted into that team fine, and he should be the star player at the football club. Yeah. Hernandez for me is the one. I think he's exceptional, and I think he's going to be a proper talent. And wouldn't surprise me in 2 or 3 years' time we do lose him to someone like Real Madrid for serious money, because that's how good I think he'll be. I think he'll be the best player in the world. Very, very good. But you know, the Van der Beek one as well. We can't, you know, there's something not right there. Technically, what a player, but. Can we not get him and Fernandes and Pogba on the same side with someone sitting behind them and protecting them? You know, there's got to be a way of trying to find it's Man United. Yeah,
Nathan, how do you think you could? How would you fit that in? How would you fit in a Pogba, a Van der Beek, a Fernandes? Who are you putting with them to be their runners to make sure it's working?
Diamond, easy.
All right, you're on mute.
Sorry. I was saying I wouldn't be able to fit all 3 of them at the same time, I don't think, because there's no one as defensive-minded enough. You could have 2 of the 3. I think the Pogba and the Van der Beek, they could probably switch between each other. But then you do need a defensive midfielder. The problem Man United have, which I've been obviously just thinking about, you know, in terms of like the blend of the team, the defense, the centre-back pairing, are not strong enough when it comes to the big teams, you know, like the big top 4 teams. We cannot play them 2 at the back and go, right, you guys, 1v1. It can't happen. It's not going to happen. That's why we let in goals for fun. And we say we've started slow. It's not we've started slow. That's their level. They can't handle players of that ability coming up against them. That's why we let in that kind of goals. So the reason why, that's why we've got that. So that's why you need 2 central defensive midfielders in front of them. If we did have not proper defenders, I shouldn't say it like that. If we did have Champions League type defensive centre backs, we wouldn't need to have the 2 sitting in front. We could have the 1, and then you could have the Van der Beek, and then you can have the Bruno ahead. So that's what would happen. But that's what Solskjaer's finding. He's finding that when we do go up against the bigger teams, he realizes, wait a minute, can't do that. I need to bring 2 centre defensive midfielders on. And then when we go up against the slightly lesser teams, he can have the 1, you know, and then we can do a little bit more going forward. And that's what happens. We go a little bit too defensive. And then what happens is we let in a couple goals, and then he thinks, you know what, let's just go for it. We got to get it. And then we go for it and we get our goals, because that's what we can do against the lower teams. Do that against Tottenham, City, Liverpool, Chelsea. We'll get whooped. We'll get whooped because they're not good enough one-on-one. Bailly is, but he can't stay fit, so we can't put him in. Every time he comes back, he's back on the bench. I'm not back on the bench. He's back injured again. So he's only fit for like 5 minutes. I really would love to see him playing all season, because his first season, he was on fire. I remember coming up against Vardy, and I was thinking, this guy he just wants Vardy. He's like, come on then, race. Let's have a race. You know, he's just like, come on. And he was just there, always stopping Vardy. And Vardy, obviously, a good striker in the Premier League. And they're the kind of players he would just relish them challenges. And that's the kind of centre-back that you need to have. But it's only when he's playing week in, week out, does he erase all of them little mistakes And obviously, what is happening right now, you're getting inconsistencies when he comes back in because he's not playing regularly. And then obviously we see him not as that top defender who we can have in there now. So we need to go get like an Upamecano, someone like that. And then we need another one. I don't think Maguire's even good enough. You know, I know we've paid that much for him, but in reality, he's good enough to a certain level. But once we get to them Mbappe levels, obviously not many people can stop him anyway. But when we get to them Champions League levels of quick movement and just that extra bit of quality, them guys can't handle it on their own. So we're going to need to do something if we want to reach them levels and play at the top again. Simple as that.
Well, we saw yesterday Mika Richards for the first time really put it on the two ex-Man United players, which I actually liked. It was he finally asked them, Gary Neville and Roy Keane, is it time for Solskjaer to move on? I know he's your friend, but let's be honest, is it time for a move? And they kind of skirted around the question pretty well. Roy Keane once again blamed the players. Is it Lee? Is it the players or is it the manager? Which one? What are you saying?
I'm struggling with this one because I don't like seeing managers get sacked. Obviously, I'm in a position myself, so I don't want anyone to want me to get sacked at the environment. It's a difficult one, but I can only go on the size of Man United Football Club, and for me, you have to have a big name manager, and they haven't got that, in my opinion. And if you want to attract the best, you need the best person in charge, and you need that leader. And listen, I think he'll take us so far, and I think he's done okay. But listen, in the big competitions, we've always failed. We failed in the league, we failed in the FA Cup last year, we failed in the Champions League this year, we failed in the Europa League last year. So we're like the nearly men at the moment. We nearly win everything, and we need to be better than that. So in my opinion, I feel that we need a better manager. I feel we need a world-class manager. And if we do that, I firmly believe with a few added additions, we keep playing at the money. But Nathan alluded on it there, you know, defensively, you used to have Rio Ferdinand at the back, one of the best 1v1 defenders around. He'd let you race him and he'd still get back and defend it. And it allowed you to go and exploit yourself moving forward. And we haven't got that. And every time, and I think Solskjaer's been very, very lucky this year. We've been well behind in certain games and come up and nicked a few goals. That luck will eventually run out, and very difficult to let the manager go now with where we are in the league. But I tell you now, if Man City pull their finger out, Chelsea and Liverpool get their players back to it, I believe Man United are a long, long way behind them, and Tottenham, to be fair. I think we're a long way behind them, if I'm honest.
Nathan, I'm asking you the same question. Is it the manager or is it the players?
I think it's a bit of both, to be fair. When it comes to, I said we're at the level we're at because of the level of the players at the moment. We need to improve them players. I don't think a manager coming in is right now is going to change us that much that we're going to become a top team. But we obviously will play the better football with the structure that I've always been banging on about. We do need to have a structure to ourselves. But what I'm saying is, I think with the quality of players we have, I don't think, for example, a Poch comes in right now and plays the same back four and tries to go attacking and we don't let goals in. We are going to let goals in if he tries to do that. So we've got a problem. It's players need to be brought in to make us much more stronger in the right wing, in centre defensive midfielder and centre back. I think they're the positions. Now, if we had them players, I think Solskjaer could even do a good job with them, because I think, you know, overall, the attacking football has been brilliant. Since he came, we were playing some football. I didn't even want to watch Man United no more. I was so upset. I was this close to not watching them again under Mourinho. I was actually that, you know, so close. But then we've actually started playing some really expansive stuff, but we just don't have a structure. Like I've said, we've come so far, but how are we going to get to that next level? Some managers, they bring players in and they let them get on with it. Some managers have a structure and can get better out of certain players. I think Solskjaer can't get better out of certain players. He just got to bring in the good players and they will do their job. And that's what I think he's good at. So if you're asking me if Solskjaer needs to go, I think he needs to be given a chance to get them better players in, see whether he can to actually get that job done. If he can't, that's when you take him out and then bring in someone else that can actually get that group of players that have the ability to the next level, which is obviously the structure which you need, which Poch has. We could see that in his Tottenham team before. That's what I think.
To add to that, can I just say, is Solskjaer getting the help on the bench and the help upstairs? It's all right saying, let's just say we want Solskjaer to go, right? But if he's not getting the help by the side of him, and no one's giving him the help, or there's no one upstairs, sporting director not giving him the right advice. So I'm not saying he's not getting the right advice on the bench, or he's not getting the right advice upstairs. I've just asked you two guys, is he getting that help on that bench, and is he getting that help upstairs?
To be fair, I'm not sure what he's getting from that side. I don't know, what they're about. To be fair, they might be good at what they're doing, but still, it still boils down to the players again. You can only do so much with the players you've got, and we need to improve them players before we can start saying something about them getting to the next level. You are your level. I just realised. I was saying to my friends the other day. I said, look, it's not you started slow, or we're being inconsistent. We're letting goals in all the time. It's just a little phase. It's not a phase. This is normal, because that's the level of the players. They let in goals because that's their level. When they play against that certain ability, they let in goals. So you don't look at Van Dijk and look at him and they play against teams. He's always doing the job because that's his level. He's always not letting in goals. That's because he's a championship type player, Champions League type player. With us, we're not Champions League type players. So when we come up against them type of boys, we let in goals. That's our level. That's where we're at right now. So it doesn't matter what management you have in until you bring in the extra players. You can get a little bit better, like I said, but to get to that actual next level, you need the boys in and then see what happens. If not, bring in the new manager who can actually do something on that side.
Before I go to Lee, I'm going to say thank you, Nathan, for coming on tonight.
Minutes,
thank you for coming on tonight. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, Man United's fortunes are a little bit better.
Oh, thank you. But I hope Arsenal can get their...
No. Granit Xhaka's just been sent off. Granit Xhaka's just been sent off. We're down to 10 men. Let's not even talk about Arsenal. Otherwise, I'll get this channel shut down. All right.
Thanks for having me on again. And Lee,
right.
Good to
take care, Nathan.
have you on here as well.
Take care.
All right, see you soon, Nathan.
Cheers, mate.
All right, Lee, where do Man United go from here? What do they do next? How far are they from getting back to just contending for the title?
Manager.
Yeah, I do. I believe there's something missing at that football club. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a leader. I don't know if it's the manager. I don't know. And Steve said it there. If it's upstairs, behind the scenes, there's something not right. Listen, the lack of crowd is a problem. But if there's a problem for everyone at the end of the day, Liverpool are still as intense as what they are. Tottenham are still as intense as they are. Chelsea, very good side. I think when they click, they're going to be a serious problem. But they've got to... I think they've got to go and bring in one or two, and we keep saying it, but they don't seem to bring in the right players. Now, is that the guy behind the scenes, or is that Solskjaer? I don't know, but I do believe, I think a new manager would get even more of a tune out of some of them players personally. I think if you brought in a Poch or I don't know, a Simeone or someone like that, I think you'd get a real tune out of some of them players. But listen, we're not far away. But I just don't think quite there at the moment.
The thing is, Ferguson did a job which right now will take a job of 10 men. And you've seen that at other clubs, they've had to put in new structures to assist the manager. A lot of clubs bringing in a director of football or technical director. Is that something Man United could be looking for? Because they have had top managers like Louis van Gaal. They've had Jose Mourinho there, who's currently doing it now at Tottenham. So maybe that's something that they're missing there.
Yeah, I believe, there's something not right there. But also, I think, you look at Atletico Madrid, for example, the manager there, Simeone. So he's got some average players, but he gets the very, very best out of them. He takes them to their limit and he gets performances out of them. So maybe Man United need to go and get a manager like that who gets a performance out of what Man United have got, because they're buying players, but we're not getting a massive tune out of a lot of them. You know, we're getting one out of Fernandes, but other than that, you know, has Maguire reached the levels that we thought he'd reach? No. Wan-Bissaka? Not really. I quite like the new left-back Tellez. He looks half decent, but Van der Beek, there's no tune out of him. So maybe we need someone who's going to come in and really organise them and get them working extremely hard like Klopp has done with Liverpool. And maybe that's the route that Man United need to go down, because there is definitely something missing at the football club. I've got no doubt about that. And you can only ride your luck for so long. They keep riding their luck. They keep falling 1-0 behind and coming back and coming back. Eventually, that luck's going to run out. And before you know it, you're sitting fifth, fighting for fourth spot again. And that's what's going to happen for me. That's where I see us ending up again.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, how far do you think Man United are?
I don't think they're that far away. I don't think they're that far away. When you compare their squad to the rest of the squads in the Premiership, and you go through their players, I think they got a bit unfairly criticised the weekend. I think they set up mainly to not lose the game, and that was plain to see. I would have liked to have got a 0-0 against my rivals a week before. But, you don't hear anybody say that. You seem to just jump on the bandwagon because just for the fact that it's Manchester United. I don't think they're far away. I still think they're that one or two players away. The only worry what I'm getting from Man United is that they keep on buying these Telasses, these Cavani and Van der Beeks, who... we don't need to, be in football as long as we have to know that they're all very, very good players. But it's like there's something missing. And that's why I was mentioning about whether it was something on the bench, whether it was something upstairs, is it not the players? I'd get Pogba out straight away. Let's just get rid of him straight. Let's get rid of him. World-class footballer. But he's just causing too much problems. Let's get a new sporting director in. I'm not too sure what Michael Carrick does. I'm still not. Maybe Lee can shed some light on that. But I just think he's got a very, very hard job. He's doing the best he can, but maybe he ain't that person. Maybe it does need that bigger person. But the only thing with Manchester United, it would be the fourth manager then. And then if the next one don't do it, then where'd you go? I would just like, if I was Man United fan, I would just say, let's get upstairs sorted. Let's get his bench staff sorted. And then if it's still like the way it is, then let's get rid of then sack him. But the players are there. The players are there. They've got a fantastic squad. I mean, it's a title-winning squad. It's just like one or two players missing. Maguire Maguire, I think, is a big mistake in buying him. £80 million for Maguire. They should have bought the other Leicester defender, in my opinion, Sanucci. Maybe they still will, but. I don't think they're that far away. I think Man United know they're not that far away. But as I say, it's Man United fans will know the answer more than me because I just feel the players are there, but I just don't think I don't think he gets the help. I don't know what Michael Carrick does, and I don't know what's going on upstairs. So I feel a bit sorry for him.
But there's things that he's not helping himself, as we see the decision not to substitute Fred in the Champions League game, even setting up defensively against Leipzig in the Champions League when you need a draw. Is it the smartest thing for a club that you're going up against the team that is going to be taking your spot? So going for a draw, you're going to be sitting back and trying to soak up pressure for the game, and then maybe hitting them on the counter. But that didn't work, and that it's things like that which people are questioning now.
Yeah,
is he the right gut man?
Sorry, mate. I know it ain't about stats, but I had a quick look at the stats before I come on. And I hate stats, but I just wanted a quick look. And I had to look at the stats for the Leipzig game. You'd be quite surprised at the stats. They had 19 shots to Leipzig's 9. They had 10 corners to Leipzig 4. So, and they had more possession than Leipzig. So it wasn't like as bad as what people made out. And what I think, the reason why I've got this thing about Solskjaer, and I think I like a manager who goes in at half time and they're down and then they come out and they're better. That tells me there's something about the manager. There's something about him, because he's took them in, you're 2-0 down, or you're 1-0 down, or you're losing the game, and you come straight back out and they've listened to him. Those players have listened to him, or Michael Carrick maybe, I don't know, and they've come back out and they've played that game and they've come on, they've either won that game or won the second half. So that's what makes me think, especially when you don't want to keep swapping and changing manager all the time, like Lee said.
Leipzig have got a proper manager, though. That's the difference. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for me, should never be Manchester United manager. Mikel Arteta should never be Arsenal manager. But obviously, when you watch that Leipzig game, they set up so defensively, they only needed a point to qualify. Ole didn't go there in the intention to win that game. He went there to play for a draw. That's what he did. But Leipzig, he didn't study Leipzig, and this is what gave him away. He thought he could go there, roll up, get a draw, and go through. Nagelsmann absolutely schooled him for 45 minutes, schooled him. They started fast. It took Manchester United by surprise. Wan-Bissaka was that shocked. He didn't even know what the hell was going on. Harry Maguire looked like he was seeing stars. And then when they should have been 3-0 up, it was offside. They could have been 3-0 up, And then you're watching the second half, and Man United came out. And how easy did they actually press that Leipzig team? They could have actually got the draw at 3-3 in the end. If it wasn't just for the goalkeeper being inches to the right, it would have gone through his legs and they would have gone through. This is why I say with Man United, people can say that they're not very far away. To me, they are. They're 4 players away and they're a manager away from being an absolute juggernaut. They need a proper centre-back next to Maguire, who's a leader. They need a proper left-back who overlaps and crosses the ball in. Telles, for me, is okay, but he's not the answer. Luke Shaw, for me, is just not the answer whatsoever. They need, when you get rid of Pogba, you need to get a proper DM to sit there and do the dirty work. Man United should have done with Thomas Partey. Can you imagine Thomas Partey with Bruno Fernandes and Donny van de Beek in a midfield 3? Them two creating and bouncing off each other. And you've got Partey there that breaks everything up. Big, strong, powerful, runs at the people. Never seen Fred do that. Fred's a good player, but he's not that sort of player. He's a Torreira to me for Arsenal. Little short guy. He's not going to worry no one. That's what he is. They need a proper number 9 and they need a proper right winger, because Rashford, for me, is not a striker. He's a winger. But you keep playing him up front as a 2 and they keep drifting to the wings because that's what they've been known for. Martial, for me, isn't a winger. Burnley are winning, thanks. And then you've got Martial, who's not a winger, is the number 9, Martial, but he's not the sort of striker that's going to get you 20 to 30 goals. He's not, nowhere near, and I'll put my reputation on that on this channel. You'll never see it. So they need to go and get a proper number 9 who scores 20 to 30 goals. They should go out and get someone like Jadon Sancho. And then you've got Rashford you can have on the left. Well, I think Rashford works better on the left than he does on the right. That's what I think. But with Man United, people, you say they're not far away. For me, they're 4 players and they're a manager away. When they F up, when they F up, there's no hairdryer treatment. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't need leaders in his squad because those players were already petrified of him when they went into the changing room and they didn't do their job. They came out and they did their job. With Ollie, they just look at him and go, don't matter, I get paid done, I'm not bothered.
But that's an assumption.
Pogba's also spat his dummy out because Bruno Fernandes has taken his spotlight as well. That's why Pogba is wanting out as well, because he's not the go-to guy anymore. Bruno Fernandes is their best player.
Pogba's been inconsistent since he got up to Manchester United, whether that was Bruno Fernandes or not. So again, it's, I feel like it's an assumption with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he doesn't give people the hairdryer treatment just because his mannerism, just because of the way he looks, because he doesn't look like he shouts at people. But I'm just not buying into that. One thing that is on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side, which seems to be the thing with Man United over since he's been in, really, is when you've had a bad spot, a bad result, you seem to have a good run. You seem to have a nice run afterwards. You've come out of the Leipzig game disappointed. You're out of the Champions League. You then get a point in the Manchester derby, and now you've got Sheffield United away. You've got Leeds at home. You've got Everton away, and you've got Leicester away. I mean, Everton and Leicester are tough games, but surely you've got to think you could pick up some points now against Sheffield United and Leeds and bounce back and get into some form again.
Sheffield's an easy 3 points, though, isn't it?
You'd hope so. You'd hope so. Listen, I think Leeds, Leicester, and Everton's is very tough. You know, Leeds could take Man United apart if they're not careful defensively. That's for sure. I think, and every time you think he's going to go, Solskjaer, he does pull off an unbelievable result. And there, he does get something out of them because they do come out in the second half and perform, and they do. But someone said it the other day, he doesn't always play his best team, so it takes him to make a substitution at half time to get his best team out there, to then go and win the game. So the problem is with the Ferguson scenario before, he created leaders as well because of these mannerisms, because they're winners, and you see that in Roy Keane and Gary Neville and the way they behave and the way they are. It's because they believe that they should win every game they go into, and I think that's a disappointment with yesterday's game. I don't believe Man United went into that game believing they could win. I believe that they went in there going, listen, we'll take the draw, but if we can get one on the counter, we'll nick the game, and they might open up. We might be able to go and get the second and third. I don't believe that they went in there. And you go back to, I don't know if you remember when Michael Owen scored the goal against Man City, and Man United used to go and really attack teams and dominate in possession and play nice and high up the park and really lock teams in their own half. And that wasn't like that yesterday. Even when Man United played Arsenal and played the best teams, you know, when it was the two best teams, they'd have a right go at each other. That wasn't like that yesterday. That was two very, very nervous teams who didn't want to get beat. And I think that's my disappointment, and a lot of Man United fans' disappointment, is Man United expect to go out and try and beat teams. And if you go out and try and beat teams and you get beat, at least you've had a go. And yesterday was very, very safe. And if we'd have got beat 1 or 2-0 yesterday, which could quite easily have happened, and this is where I think he's riding his luck a little bit, then, you know, questions could have been really asked there yesterday.
Yeah.
You alluded to it there. It's a change in the mentality of the players to feel that they're the champions. They go that was lost along the way, and I don't know what manager kind of took that away from Man United, but it seems to have gone. How do you build that up? Is it bringing in players? Like you say, maybe bringing in a new manager, but how is it you build up these players again to feel like they're champions, to feel like they've not got to worry about what other teams are doing? It's them that people should be worrying about.
I think it was lost in the Moyes and Van Gaal appointment. I think Van Gaal was out the game too long. I thought it was an awful appointment. I have to be honest. I thought he was out the game too long. I thought he wasn't the right person for Man United. I think Man United need a young, fresh, hungry manager who's won something. And they tried. The problem was with the Mourinho one, everyone knows what Mourinho does. He goes into a job, he guarantees you a trophy, but along the way, he will wreck the football club. He will be boring to watch, but he will win you something. And at that point, Man United needed to win something, and he done it. And listen, that's what Mourinho does. He'll do the same at Spurs. If they win something this year, and I tell you now, they'll go close to the Premier League. But if they do win it, but next year, he won't get a tune out of them because they'll be so bored of defending that they all want to just go and attack. But that's Mourinho. I'd like to see someone come to that football club of a real stature of a manager and like what Klopp's done at Liverpool and Guardiola's done, and and really go and stamp their authority with a big name and a couple of real good signings. And, I think you'd see a real different Man United side, because the one thing Man United have got is they've got blistering pace in their side. They've got great quality. With one or two additions, they could be a really, really good side. But they have to do that. And I believe that does. And not just Solskjaer, maybe Woodward as well behind the scenes. He doesn't seem to get a player in over the line. He seems to spend a lot of money. Clubs hold him to ransom. For me, he's not the right man. So maybe a sporting director does need to come in. But for me, if you get that right, you get the manager right, the backroom staff, and then they're not a million miles. They've got some fantastic players at the football club, but they need to go and get a dominating midfielder, a proper centre-half, and for me, still a number 9, because you look at yesterday, Shearer done some stats yesterday, the crosses that were getting in the box, no centre-forward in there. When they put Cavani on against Southampton, at least he's in the 6-yard box scoring 2 goals. Every goal Man United seems to score when he's not playing seems to be a good goal, and they've had to work extremely hard for it. So they're not a million miles away. I just feel, for me, if they get that right, they'll be a very, very good side, and a side to be reckoned with.
Couldn't Cavani do that for a couple of years, Lee? Couldn't Cavani do that for a couple of years?
I like him, mate. I do like him. I just that's what worries me, his age. And has he lost that half a yard? And is it like the Falcao signing of a few years back, where I think they need, and people think I'm mad and say, why would he go to Man United? But someone like Harry Kane is what they needed. They should have gone and done that 2 years ago. The money that they've spent on some of these players, Harry Kane was exactly the player that they needed, the centre forward. But the one that baffled me the most was the Haaland one as well, because he is so suited for the Premier League. The size, the power, the pace, the finishing ability. He worked with Solskjaer. I think it was the agent's fee in the end that they didn't want to pay. But that for me could have been the big signing, and that could have been 5 years worth of a very, very good centre forward. But the Cavani one, listen, I think they need to see him for 10, 15 games and playing him for 10, 15 games. Coming on for one, playing the next, not coming on the next one. If we're going to play him, we need to play him for 10, 15 games and have a real good look at him. But has Solskjaer got 10, 15 games to do that? I don't know. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. He might be one loss away from losing his job. And that's why they were ultra defensive yesterday.
If Olivier could do it, Lee, then Cavani can.
I love him, mate. What a player he is. I always liked him, and it was the worst thing Arsenal ever done was get rid of him. I'll tell you that now.
Tell me about it.
I regret it now. I do regret it now, but I was dancing when he left. Trust me.
Yeah. No, it's
would
madness.
Would you take Nengelsmann? Would you take Nengelsmann?
It's a difficult one.
It's inexperienced.
Yeah, you go back to that same. Man United need that ready now player, don't they? And this is the problem. I think that they need more than that. I think they need more. They need better. They need players that are world class now, and that's the problem. Yes, you could bring him in. Yes, you can introduce him slowly, but they've done that with the lad James. He's miles away from me, miles and miles away from a Man United player. Yeah, he's got blistering pace. But I just feel that they need that. But again, you've seen it before, though. These clubs bring in world-class players and they don't end up being world-class. And, it takes time. But I like the boys that Chelsea have brought in. I think they're good players. Why am I looking at them? I think there's some good players in Germany, some top. They're machines over there. Look at some of them. Look at the work rate of them sides over there. And Man United have got to get back to that. And they've got to get to that quite quickly for me.
Who would be your choice as manager to bring in and think could take him back to winning ways?
Listen, I think the first one on the top of everyone's head is Pochettino. I think you can't look past him. I think he'd be very, very good for Man United. I think Ferguson's liked him from day one, what he's done with Southampton and Tottenham. But he hasn't really won a lot, and that's a slight issue. But I feel that he's got an aura about him. He's got a world-class aura about him. And I think he'd be a very, very good appointment for Man United. But I'd like to see someone like Simeone. I really would. I don't know why, but I just feel that his organisation, his work, he reminds me of Klopp. He's got that. He's a madman. He puts the tune out of his players. And as someone like that, I'd love to see given an opportunity over here. But listen, whether he could speak the language and things like that, you don't know, and that could be the problem. But there's something about Simeone. He's a very, very underrated, very, very good manager that's done it for many years now at Atletico Madrid. He's had some very average players, and he's got the best out of a lot of them, and they're still getting results now. And someone like him, but you never know with Man United. It's a strange club at the moment. I'm not sure it's probably in the right hands, and that's where we go back to behind the scenes. That maybe you just don't know what's going on there. And listen, I can see them giving him the job to Solskjaer till the end of the season. And if you don't bring anything in other than qualifying for the Champions League, I think he could be gone. Is my personal view.
I think the Everton manager would be a good manager for Man United. He's won things in the Premiership. Yeah, I think very good. I can just see him. When you just see him manage, you can just see him, but you can see him there. Can't you? You can see him.
The thing with Simeone, though, the thing with Simeone, you bring Diego Simeone, it's always the fans that are going to have that say because his football's rubbish, it's boring, it's crap. Simeone, for me, I would like Simeone at Arsenal, but I know he won't survive because our fans, we could be sat top of the league, 5 points clear. Oh, but it's boring. Aubameyang doesn't even score. This happens and this happens. Yeah, we haven't conceded goals, but we're not scoring that many. We've been spoilt with Wenger and brilliant football and scoring goals for fun. And that's the only thing. We could bring a defensive manager in. We've got one now at the minute. And we're not scoring goals and the fans are already on the back. We could literally be where Tottenham are and our fans still won't be happy. Because it's, we won 1-0 or we won 2-1. I want more goals, though. It's boring. That's what I hate about fans. And that's what I like about this coronavirus, that you don't have to worry about it.
With the Arsenal situation, though, like you look at, he done such a good job last season. Is it? I think it's the players at Arsenal. I don't think they've bought well enough. I don't think they've spent money. Of course it is. I think they've got a fantastic young manager. I really believe in Arteta. I think he's a great manager. I think he knows the game inside out. But the players are so poor, so poor. They've spent no money. They haven't spent money since they've been in the new stadium. And it was Wenger out, and Wenger was struggling, but still doing okay. And they're rapidly declining. And listen, if they lose this game, it actually isn't funny. They're 15th, 16th in the league. That's shocking, But
the thing is, though, Arsenal do spend money, though. We do spend money. Arsenal and Man United have spent most money out of all the clubs in the world.
You're talking about on a 5-year span, Si. You're not talking about in a concentrated moment. I don't know how we got onto Arsenal. What have you done?
No, but I'm saying...
I don't want to hear it. Look,
everyone blames the owners.
2015. People keep talking about these stats from 2015 to 2020 about Arsenal spent up there with the money. It's nonsense. I don't want to hear it, because it's not in a concentrated point. It's not this manager gets boom. This manager brings him in his players and he gets what he wants. Look at what Chelsea did this season. Chelsea went out, didn't worry about players that they had on their books, didn't worry about excuses about they've got to get this about it. They went bang, 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 bang. And don't talk about Chelsea didn't spend last season because what have Arsenal spent over the last whatever? No. Chelsea went out and got all the players they wanted, and then afterwards they went, okay, let's get rid of these players that we've got on the books. Oh, we can't, we'll loan them out. Arsenal didn't do that. Arsenal tried to get rid of the players, try to make money from players that have got a year left on their contract, deluded. How are you going to ask for 8 million for Squadron Mustafi when he's got a year left? 5 million for Socrates when he's got a year left? And he's playing in the under 23s. How is this club is not run well at all? It's not. It's a mess. And they're going to blame it on the manager again. He's got a bang average team and he's not been given the players that he needs. It's poor. It's poor. It's poor. Anyway, back to Man United. Before you go, what would you constitute as a good season from now? I mean, De Gea's talking about you've got to start looking at yourselves as title contenders. You're 2-3 points off the top. There's no reason why you should be looking down. You should be looking up. Like I said, you've got a couple of not unbeatable games in front of you.
Yeah.
What's looking like a good season?
No, listen, and you've just said it there. I think they're 5 points off the lead with a game in hand, and they have to be looking to win the league. The problem is I say it and don't believe it, and I think they say it and don't believe it as well. And that's the problem where Man United are at now. But listen, they've got to bring in some silverware this year. They have to do something, whether that's challenging for the league towards the end of the season. I don't think that will happen. I think they'll drop points to city teams because they're riding their luck as it is now. And they'll fall short there. But they, the FA Cup and maybe the UEFA Cup. But I think that there's a change will happen, whether it happens now or at the end of the season. I think that will do it. But listen, if they can get in the top 4, I used to batter teams for finishing the top 4 and taking a selfie, But if Man United get a top 4, but you should be taking selfies when you've got silverware on the table. But I think that will probably be a good season for Man United, and what a crying shame that is when you're celebrating finishing 4th or 3rd, and they've got to be challenging, and whether that's with the manager they've got and some new players, or with a new manager and new players, that's what they've got to be looking at, and they've got to move quite quickly on it. And listen, they might be able to bring in 1 or 2 in January. I don't see it. I think they'll try again for Sancho, but I don't know if Sancho's the answer. I really don't. I think they need a little bit more than that. And when they need to sort that spine out, and listen, clean sheets win your leagues. It's a fact. Clean sheets will win your leagues, and the goals will take care of itself. They've got goals in their side. They've got a lot of goals in their side. They've got pace to burn. They've got goal scorers, but they've got to sort out the back 4 and the goalkeeper. I like the goalkeeper, to be fair. But
can you imagine where this Man United team would be if Jurgen Klopp was your manager?
A lot of players wouldn't be there. If I'm honest, I think they'd be a lot further forward. I think what you have to understand with Jurgen Klopp, he's got a work. I loved it today. There's so many managers that believe in, that the result will take care of itself if you do everything training pitch in the week. Well, Jurgen Klopp today, after 22 minutes, was absolutely going berserk on the side of the pitch. He was. Players going, and he's won the league last year. That's how. He's an out-and-out winner. And if Man United had him, half the players for me wouldn't be in the side because they don't work hard enough. If you look at what his team do and the mileage that they cover and the pace and quality they've got in the side, and a big thing for me, his signings haven't been world class players. He's gone and looked around, and really his scouting network must be fantastic. Because he takes players that people don't even know of, and he gets tunes out of these players. But what he creates, he creates a football team and not an individual. And that's the difference between Liverpool and anyone else in this league at the moment. They are a proper side, and that's why they have got the injuries they've got and still producing the goods. I know they've drawn today and they weren't great, but listen, I don't see past them this year. I think they'll win it again for me because they're a proper side, and that's the difference.
Yeah, I do. As soon as them players come back fit, watch them take off.
Yeah, it's I mean, this is a Liverpool team that's missing Van Dijk, who
Thiago, Jota.
They're missing a lot of players, and they're still getting a tune out of their team.
But then again, you talk about just what Kieran said just about 5 minutes ago. Liverpool, to do what they've done and to be what they are, have done what Chelsea have done this season. They've gone in and they went bang, bang, bang. They got 3 players. They sorted out their spine out, and then they went on and won the Champions League. Nearly won the league after that with nearly 100 points. And then the year after that, they went and won the championship. And Chelsea could go and do the same. If Manchester United and Arsenal did that, we've got
no assets though. We've got no
players,
assets. That's the thing. We've got no assets.
Well, then it ain't the manager, then, is it? So then it ain't the 3 players, and then you would have a team. Then you'd have challengers.
And I think what Liverpool done as well is they identified what they needed. It was very clear that they was a team that could go forward, expansive. They were brilliant to watch, but they were conceding goals to the back. They went, okay, let's get the best defender in the league, and let's get the best goalkeeper that we've played against this season. It was Alisson played against Roma in that game.
As well, Man United, I look at Man United and I sometimes think that they just play a bit of a lottery where they'll just go and pick, Sancho's playing well, I will go and get him. You know, and you just said it there.
Yeah.
Klopp looked at what he needs and what he wants, and he's gone and got that. What's right for his side, and that's why for me that they're the best, and they've got the best manager, and the proof's in the pudding. He's won the Champions League and the league, and that's the difference.
Yeah. All right, Lee. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Give yourself a little shout out where everyone can find you: Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. Go on.
Yeah, so
we'll come scout you.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and under Lee Allinson, and on Instagram. I share an account with my wife, and you can follow us on that. And yeah, thanks for having me. It's been brilliant. I love talking football, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, mate. We'll definitely get you on again. Thanks for coming on.
As Kian Nicholas, when
I know he's not good. It was a horrible day yesterday, mate. It was actually a very worthwhile friendly. I won't talk about the ineptness of the FA and the league that we play in, because we're still playing friendlies, mate, with no football allowed at the moment. Yeah. And he's dislocated his knee and ruptured his patella. His knee was dislocated for over 6 hours. He's got an emergency operation tomorrow. Fantastic talent, the lad. We only signed him 2 weeks ago. Real good centre forward. And it was a terrible day, mate. And you know, but if the league could give us some guidance, maybe we wouldn't have played that friendly yesterday, or maybe would have had a league game. And this is the problem I'm having at the moment, mate. We're not really sure how to prepare for football whenever it starts back, and that's the difficult thing. The players are so undercooked; it's a nightmare. 1 minute they look really sharp, the next minute they're pulling an hamstring, or they're getting injuries like we've got yesterday. It's a really tough time. It really is.
Give him our best, mate. Give him our best.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
All right, thanks for that, Lee. Take care, mate.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
All right.
I'm going to tell him about I'm going to tell him about our deadly striker that we've got as part of the team.
What? Get Nathan to dust up his boots, yeah?
We scout him now every single week if he's scored. Even I've started doing it.
Oh, you mean Joan Luque? Yeah. Joan's playing in the conference. Still doing well. How you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, good. You all right, guys?
I'm all right. Stressful?
You've seen the score?
I see the score.
No, I don't want to know. We've lost 1-0. I don't want to know.
That's 10 men. Grant
At least he's not playing. At least he's not playing Wednesday.
Yeah, it's finished 0-0. Oh, finished 1-0. I wish it finished 0-0. Anyway, let's get on to something more interesting. Jerome. We're going to jump straight on to the Guardian top 60. What you got for us this week?
The Guardian top 60. Right. So I'll tell you, we've got a wonderful attacking player from the Czech Republic, Adam Karabek. 17 years of age. He plays for Sparta Prague in the Czech Republic, and he's been there since he was about 13. And he actually made his first team debut there when he was just 16. And he's sort of like a bit of a regular now in the team. Left-footed, very silky, lovely technique, great vision, takes set pieces. They think he's probably the most talented young player in the Czech Republic. And he actually, despite his age, he got called up to the full Czech squad when they played Scotland in the Nations League a few months ago. But there is a bit of a caveat to that.
Oh, that's when everyone got coronavirus, wasn't it?
Yeah. Basically, I think two of the players in that squad, only two of the players had been capped before. Yeah. So they're basically, but still, not bad to get caught. No, not bad at just 17.
Steve, a little bit of a quiz for you. Who is the other talent who was at Sparta Prague, who is well renowned and probably is now played with this other new superstar?
Thomas Rosicky.
No. That's not a bad clue, though, Steve. That's not a bad clue.
What? Adam Holizek?
There we go. Adam Holzek. Yes, very good, very good. Steve knows about old Sparta Prague youth. And Adam Holzek was regarded as the best youth, so this kid must be a bit special. We'll have to keep an eye. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Who else you got for us to?
No, that's the only one, I believe.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get on to the transfer roundup. What we got this week? Been a busy week this week for the transfer roundup. All right, let's start. Juventus forward Paulo Dybala has been offered to up to 6 clubs in the Premier League. That was in 90 minutes. West Ham, along with, are keeping tabs on former Tottenham winger Marcus Edwards. Jerome, you had a little look in. What's he saying?
Oh, what a player this is. I do like this guy. Marcus Edwards, he turned 22 earlier this month. Left-footed winger, mainly plays from the right. So he spent basically his whole youth career at Spurs, joined them when he was 6 years old, and had a couple of loan spells when he was at Spurs. One at Norwich. He only ended up playing, I think, once because he picked up a bad injury. And then he went on loan to a team in Holland called Excelsior, and he done pretty well there. He ended up going to a team in Portugal called Victoria de Guimarães. It's a team Arsenal played against in the Europa League. Now, he's a bit of a funny one because when he was there when Pochettino was at Spurs, and Pochettino said that he saw similarities between him and Messi in terms of like his ability to beat a man, his low centre of gravity. When I've watched him play, you can see that, but he reminds me a bit more of like Mo Salah. Like he's absolutely rapid with the ball at his feet, really great trickery. When he was at Spurs, Pochettino wrote a book, and he said that initially he had like some behavioural problems when he was a bit younger, but he seems to have sort of, I guess, grown up now. I think he's got like a €15 million release clause or something like that.
Mate, that's worth taking a risk on it.
Honestly, this guy looks excellent. I'm surprised there hasn't been sort of more of him in like the media and stuff, like more of a name, because he looks like an absolutely really talented player.
There was a little bit of a talk a couple of seasons ago about quite a few clubs looking at him. I think it was when Arsenal were playing them in the Europa League. Maybe some teams with £15 million or €15 million. That's definitely worth taking a risk on, I'd say. Yeah,
really good. Lots of dribbles. Like when he had his loan in Holland, he had like the most dribbles out of everyone in the league. He looks class. He looks wicked.
All right, sweet. Mini Raiola said to Paul Pogba, it's time for him to go. His time is over at Manchester United. That was just before a big game against RB Leipzig. We spoke about it earlier. We have a bit of news on Paul Pogba. Steve, Juventus, was it?
Yeah, I spoke to someone who's knows someone inside Juventus. He'll be coming on the show soon. He was told that Juventus were expected to explore different ways to sign Pogba in January. The thing is, they just don't have the cash, so they need to free up cash. Dybala and Benarici are the players that that they're willing to get rid of. But no mentions of any other players, just those two. Juventus would gladly swap Dybala, but after last time we returned United down, it's all a bit up in the air. It's all a bit awkward. Another way is to do it the way of like when Morata and Chelsea, where they paid the fee a year later with a couple of other players yet to be known. And Pogba and Minarello want it done in January, but I'm not too sure they will get it done in January.
Yeah, I mean it's a big ask considering Juventus haven't got the money. They need to get rid of players as well. So, yeah. All right.
Would they be cheeky to say, can we have him on loan till end of season?
I mean,
gets him out, but it's cheeky.
It's not necessarily cheeky. It's just about what money they're offering for the loan. because I don't think Man United are in a situation where they're worried about his wages. It's not like, they just want to get the wages off the books. Man United have got money. They've got plenty of money. It's just whether having a Paul Pogba in the team when you're looking forward to sort of, as in, you want to be putting together a team which is with having Paul Pogba not in mind in having in that squad. So you want to be starting to build that team around a team that's not going to have Paul Pogba in it. Will that harm you in the short term? Because this guy is a big influence in and around the squad, and it could kick off. That's the thing you've got to kind of balance. And if you want to get that off the books, maybe a loan is worth it. But
I think it will happen. I think it will happen eventually. I don't know when. I say it won't happen in January, but I think it could happen in the summer because you've got 3 people now: Pogba, Lee and Juventus, who all want it to happen. I think United have come in with a sneaky €70 million. Come and get him for that.
It's a bit of a tall ask though, with a year left in his contract. I mean, I know Ed Woodward is known for not being bothered about making a loss. He's not bothered about having to pay the extra money to get the player. But asking for 70 million for a player with a year left in his contract is a bit. It's a bit
mental.
It is. It's just not going to happen, and you're risking having that player on the books and sulking throughout the rest of that following season, and he's going to go on a free. And is
How
that
old
going to
is
be?
he?
Is
he
that going to be
27?
detrimental? I think he's 20. Yeah, I think he'd be 27 at the end of the season.
Bloody hell, he's in his prime.
Yeah, Paul Pogba's 27. So by the end of the season, he'd be 28. So you're buying a Paul Pogba in his prime. And if there's a happy Paul Pogba that's somewhere, I can't see it not working. I can't see the next club he goes to not being. And the thing is, it's not just. It can't be just. There'd be more clubs in for him in the summer. It can't just be Juventus.
I mentioned to the person who gave me this information about he played in the Manchester derby, and he said to me, that's the start of the mind games. That's the start of the mind games. He has to play. If Solskjaer picks him, Pogba has to play. Whether he likes it or not. Pogba might not want to play, but if he picks him, he's got to play. I mean, so it's the start of the mind games.
It's beneficial for Pogba to play because he's attracting interest from other clubs. So it works in his favour.
It's just Juventus probably don't like the fact that he's playing. If they want to sign him in January, they won't want that, will they?
Yeah. Arsenal in talks with Turkish Super League club Fenerbahçe about getting their World Cup winner Mesut Ozil off the books. Simon and Steve both have information. First, I'll go to Simon on that one.
I'll go to Steve first. First.
Steve's got an additional bit. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So let's just go quickly through the Mesut Ozil. DC United are out. But Fenerbahçe, although looking like previously many times they've tried to get this deal over the line, don't have the money. But there's a couple of wealthy businessmen that are trying to get involved and trying to put some money towards this. Maybe Mesut Ozil has to take a minor reduction, but is this something that looks like it could potentially actually happen?
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to remember now what I told you. It's like two business. I can't remember the name. God, it's like two business that are working with Fenerbahçe, and they're trying to bring Mesut Ozil to Turkey. He's already turned down Inter Milan last summer, where he don't want to go to Italy. He wants to go to. He looked at America, LA Galaxy. They were looking at him. DC United very close to getting him as the replacement for Wayne Rooney. But in Turkey, Fenerbahçe I think it's people that are really close to the president that have come out and said something. One of Mesut Ozil's very close friends in London has also come out and spoke a little bit too much and said that he's going to Fenerbahçe, and it's either going to happen in January or it goes in the summer, basically for free. But in January, it's like a loan where these two businessmen with Fenerbahçe, they're going to basically subsidize Mesut Ozil's wages. So it's like Arsenal not having to pay the wages anymore. It will now be these two businessmen that are going to help Mesut Ozil to go to Turkey. He's got loads of people that's on his side. Obviously, Arsenal want to get rid of him. They want him off the books. Miss Turkey, she's pulling strings as well. His wife, she's trying to get it. She's trying to get him to go over there as well, because obviously they just want to go and live their life now. They want to live the dream. Really, they've done everything that they both need to do, and they just want to go and live in Turkey, enjoy themselves.
And it's probably best for both parties. If Arsenal aren't actually going to bring Mesut Ozil back into the squad, then there's no point in him sitting in not even in the under 22, not even in the under 23s, is he?
I have been told. I have been told as well that if by some miracle he's still here after January, he's still not coming in the squad.
Wow. And, and the thing,
this is what I was saying to Lee. This is what I was saying to Thingy about Pogba. You don't want an Ozil situation. Arsenal don't want him. He's hanging around, hoping that the fan base jump on the back and basically gets him back in the squad. He's tried every single little sneaky, underhanded things to get back in this squad. He doesn't love Arsenal at all. He doesn't love Arsenal. He likes to be the controller. That's what I was told. That's not my words. That's this guy's words.
Nobody loves their clubs these days.
But if he's not in the squad, Arsenal have to bring someone into the squad that can do the job. Like it can't be. Arsenal can't have this squad for the rest of the season and expect any changes.
Because it's not.
What's going to change? What is going to change if they've got this same squad?
Changing. Nothing.
People are trying to turn around and say this is a better team than last season. It's not. You could say it's the same level, but how can you keep trying to get the same tune out of the team time after time? Like that, what was got out of this team last season was the best you could get out of this team.
Yeah.
So you don't change anything, when you don't add to it, it's going to stagnate, and of course it's going to decline.
What team was this better at? I mean, I'm just a bit confused at what is this team now? What team going back 2, 3, 4, 5? Is this better than that?
The only,
I don't know.
The only argument.
I don't know.
Yeah, the only argument is that Gabriel's in the team, but apart from that, and Tierney's playing more regularly, but apart from that, it's the same.
You can't sit there and say, this team's not the 15th best team in the league. Sorry, it is. Massively.
So people have got to start thinking expectations. People got to start thinking instead of people thinking great Arsenal, brilliant Arsenal, invincible Arsenal. You got to forget that. You got to start thinking differently.
That's it.
You got to start thinking differently, and then you won't be upset. Then you won't get annoyed as much because this is where Arsenal are. Chelsea were a thing, but they didn't moan like we moaned. They just got on with it, right? They just got on with it, and they brought a couple of players in, and then they got themselves back again.
Yeah, they went to World League,
and then they won the league. Yeah,
Chelsea came 11th, didn't they?
Yeah, they finished 11th or 12th, didn't they? Mental.
Yeah, Steve. Sidetrack there. There's a little bit more information there. Was it Mustafi was being linked as well?
Yeah, Mustafi's being linked to Fenerbahçe, and as you say, I agree. Same with Simon. Ozil's being linked with Fenerbahçe. The same guy I was telling you about last week. It's all about money. It's all about when they sit down in that boardroom and Ozil and Mustafi is sitting there and they say, "This is what we want." Because Fenerbahçe ain't got no money, they got nothing. They've got no money.
But it was enough old man.
They haven't.
Right,
They can afford 10 million, and his wages are 20. So that's the problem.
Money. So unless they're sitting down, unless, like Simon just said, someone comes in and pays them the money, or they want a massive drop, then that's where it is. That's where the signings are. I mean, Ozil ain't going to go to Fenerbahçe if he wants 200 grand a week, is he? That ain't happening.
No, and his agent ain't going to let him go to Fenerbahçe if he ain't going to be getting the same wages that he's on now either. Because for an agent, that's just stupid. There's a guy from Australia that they're trying to sign. They can't even get him because he wants too much money. In Fenerbahçe?
Geezer called Dalton, Robert Dalton from Australia, plays for Melbourne or someone that Fenerbahçe are after. Yeah,
sounds like a cricketer.
They can't buy that player because he wants too much money.
How can you not afford a player from Australia?
Exactly. But it does make a bit of sense if someone's going to pay the money for Ozil to play.
Yeah, I've got a feeling this is going to be Ozil's getting paid like 30 grand a week, and then there's the rest of that is getting a briefcase at the end of each game. I don't think this one's going to be on the books somehow.
18.5 mil a month.
I don't like talking about Ozil. I mean, me and Kieran was always in tears like the other day, weren't we? Watching the video. I'm glad we was both there to console each other.
It was, mate. It just like,
and it was only clipped up. That's getting clipped up.
It was only on his faint. Is it? Oh, faint. Oh, Ozil faint. Oh. That's all it was. Oh, mate. The thing is, Steve, you look around the rest of the players that are around him in them games he's doing that. He's either at Real Madrid or when he's at Arsenal, he's got Sanchez on his left. He's got Santi Cazorla just behind him. And this was a team where they had stand outside the Emirates with banners for. They had banners for that team.
Is Ozil?
This team's the nuts.
Is Ozil too good? Is Ozil too good for Arsenal?
Look, Ozil's a luxury player, so Ozil needs certain players around him, and Arsenal can't afford to do that now. And if they can, Arsenal can't do that now. They've gone a different path. They've gone a different way. So Arsenal need to get in the players that are going to fit and suit the way we're meant to be playing. And today, look, I was watching that first half against Burnley, and I'm sorry, but Arsenal were attacking. They had 7 attempts on goal. Yeah, one of them was only on target, but it's because the other ones that it's not blocks and stopping the goals from going in. There's another. Once again, our striker is in front of goal and hits the goalkeeper when the ball's laid across him. Like, you can't account for that as a manager. You're looking at that striker there. Oh, mate, he was like 2 yards away, 3 yards. He's inside the charge box.
This is why I didn't watch it.
You can't account for that. We can talk about the manager this and even the owners that, but when there's players, the ball is at a player's feet and he's not putting it in the net, like, what? Come on. Like, come on. I mean, Jerome, you watched it. I saw that. Should he be putting that away? Can I be digging him out about that? Or was that a great save from the goalkeeper?
No, he hit it right at him. That's one of them that he'd do that in training. He'll score 10 out of 10.
Oh, I give up.
It's no good in training. It's no good in training.
I'm done.
But I can't ever go at Arteta. I can't ever go at Arteta until he's given what Frank Lampard's given and what Klopp was given. Until he's given what a chance and given what they're given, and he can go and get them type of players. How can you ever go at Arteta?
I don't know if he's going to get the time now.
I'm only ever going to go at Arteta because he keeps picking the same squad that's failing. Stop picking Bellerin. Stop picking Xhaka. Stop picking Willian. Stop picking Lacazette. Give Balogun a chance. Put Smith Rowe in there. Put Willock. If we lost 4-0 to Southampton on Wednesday, But there's no Xhaka, there's no Bellerin, there's no Lacazette, and there's no Willian, and we lost 4-0. I would back Arteta because he's changing something.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm fed up with the same dead players.
Sorry, yeah. You're literally listen to what you're saying.
You're putting us.
I am listening. I'm right.
This is
you're relegating us. You're relegating us.
Sorry. This is Arsenal.
We're getting relegated with dead players.
Sorry. This is Arsenal Football Club, yeah, and you're talking about, you're saying start Balogun, play Reece Nelson, play him. Look at the players you're talking about playing. Look at the players you're talking. We had people like Theo Walcott on the bench. We had people like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on the bench. We had people, I can't even remember who else were on the bench. And now you're talking about we should be playing Balogun, who's played 15 minutes in a Europa League game. We are at a point where we are so desperate. We're looking at youth players to say we should be playing them. This is the joke. Come on, please, Arteta. It's a mess, bruv. You have been
I know it's a mess.
lured into a false sense of security and thinking that we should be looking at our players, our youth players, and going, we've got to give them a chance. We're Arsenal, bruv. We should be looking at our bench and seeing top star quality on the bench. We should be seeing the players that we're playing in the starting lineup today. If they're not good enough, they should be on the bench. We should have better players starting.
That's what I would do.
But look at Pep Guardiola with Phil Foden. He's probably one of the best.
Thank you.
That is a perfect example, right? He's probably the best young player, English player in the Premier League, and he can't even get on the football pitch.
Exactly.
But we're going. Play Smith Rowe. Play Nelson. Play
Smith Rowe. Let's play Smith Rowe. I can't believe Smith Rowe's got the starting lineup. No,
I would.
Because
I'm fed up of seeing the Wenger players that are still here.
It's hope. That's all it is. It's hope. I hope that Smith Rowe's going to come in and make a difference. I hope that Nelson, because he's more tricky and he's more aggressive with his running than Willian. I hope he's going to come in and do this against this team. But it's not guaranteed. It's not. We know he can do that because we don't know because they're still learning the game. Like these are youngsters. We shouldn't be at a stage where we're looking at our youngsters and going, they've got to try and save us now. Look at poor Saka. Saka, I guarantee, ain't signing a new contract. He won't sign. If I'm his agent, I'm saying I'm looking for new clubs for you. I'm not signing a new contract at Arsenal whether you support them or not. There is no way you're staying at this club. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And 3-4 players away, it's a mess, mate. It's a mess. We are in an absolute hole. An absolute hole. And we've been lured into some false sense of it's the manager here, it's the manager there, it's this and that. Nah. Since the latter days of Arsene Wenger, they've been able to get away with we're not going to buy any players because we don't believe in the manager anymore. We're not going to buy any players because we've got someone on the board who's not our man. Oh, we're getting some players, we're getting a few, but then it needs to be you get in a team. You get in these players, and it's 2 consecutive windows. And I'm not talking about the Jack Winter windows. I'm talking about 2 summer transfer windows to build a team. We ain't doing that. And it's excuse after excuse after excuse. And I'll
tell you what, Kieran. I'll tell you what as well. A lot of people got to have a think of it, have a word with themselves about what they used to say about Unai Emery. I'll tell you what, because
I wish we kept him, mate.
The stick he used to get. The stick he used to get.
Yeah. No, definitely.
It's the players.
It's a mess. Tottenham are being linked to AC Milan. Oh, Tottenham and Arsenal are being linked to AC Milan midfielder Frank Kessie. That's from Italian outlet Calcimacchio. Jerome, tell everyone what Frank Kessie is about.
Yeah, really solid central midfielder. He's, as you said, at AC Milan, he's going to be 24 next week. It does seem like he's been around for a while, to be honest. So he was at Atalanta a few years ago, and he joined AC Milan initially on a 2-year loan deal with an obligation to buy. So he's been there for a few seasons now. Full Ivory Coast international, played 40-odd games for them already. Now, initially, he was sort of quite, I guess, a defensively minded midfielder, like built like an absolute tank. But this season, he started to sort of get involved a bit in terms of creating and scoring goals. In his 10 league appearances, he's been involved in like 7 goal contributions, whether it's a goal or an assist. But for me, I think he's a stereotypical central midfielder. You don't fancy anyone. If it's like a 50-50, like you fancy this guy every time. No one's going to out-muscle him. No one's going to get the better of him in physical challenges. He keeps it very simple, and he's one of the main reasons why Milan are top of the league at the moment. Really, really excellent player.
And Ibrahimovic as well. Yeah, there was talk about Frank Kessie. There's lots of links to him. Newcastle, West Ham last season. We're looking at him. So yeah, no, he's very highly regarded Ivory Coast international. Bristol City are one of a number of clubs chasing Fortuna left back George Cox, formerly of Brighton. Bayern Munich are preparing a move for Barcelona midfield Frankie de Jong. That was in the Mundo Deportivo. Arsenal and Wolves are among a number of clubs looking at Valencia striker Maxi Gomez. What's this Maxi Gomez saying, Jerome?
Yeah, so he's at Valencia. He joined them in 2019 from Celta Vigo. He's 24. He plays for Uruguay. I don't know if you saw, when he first signed for them, he had a massive release clause, like 150 million euros or something, or some ridiculous figure. Because of the problems financially, they think that he could go for less. So he's nicknamed the Bull, and he is like a battering ram of a centre forward. Very good in the air.
I've not even watched him yet, and I want him. I've not even watched him, and I want him.
I just love these things that Jerome finds out. Unbelievable.
They call him a battering ram of a forward. I mean, if you don't want that in your team, you don't know football.
His nickname's the Ball. I just love it.
Yeah, he's not massively prolific. Like, he doesn't score a ton of goals. So, for instance, the games he's played for Valencia, he's played 43 games and he's scored 13 goals. But he's like a really good focal point for the team. Some clever finishes amongst the goals he's scored. And as I said, he's excellent in the air. The first 10 of the first 21 goals he scored in the Liga were headers. Now, he reminds me, I'll tell you who he reminds me of, quite similar, but maybe a little bit more solid. But this guy was. Do you remember Alvaro Negredo that played for City?
Yes.
He was there for a couple of seasons. Very, very strong. Didn't score tons of goals, but like, you wouldn't want to play against him.
Was his nickname the Beast?
Might have been, along with Baptista. That was like Baptista's nickname.
Not quite the Beast. The Beast in Spain is different to the Beast in England. I mean, it's a tough job to look up to. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Maxi Gomez. He, decent player. Wouldn't want to play against him.
So a bit of Maxi Gomez and Frank Kessie in that midfield. Maxi Gomez up top, bullying people. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, definitely.
That could work. Listen, Arsenal, watch the show. Scouts from a number of Premier League clubs are watching Bayer Leverkusen and Jamaican international Leon Bailey on Thursday in the champions in the Europa League. They're currently top of the Bundesliga at the moment after their win today.
Benfica. Did you see the goal he scored today? Yeah, blind. Quality.
Is he looking sharp at the moment, Bailey?
Well, I haven't seen lots of him, but I saw the goal that he scored today. Awesome strike. Yeah, you got to see it. Have a look at it. Yeah.
There's no great thing with it. There's no sort of like, we've got people with linked with Bailey, but there's not that.
No, it's not. I think people they don't know whether they want to take that because he's available. He wants to move to the Premier League. He wants to move away from Germany now. So it's there's a fair few clubs in for him. So yeah, it remains to be seen. Benfica are interested in Lille midfielder Babukari Sumari. Previously Arsenal look at him, but the last we're hearing is that Arsenal's January transfer is going to be departures. It's all about departures. The only link we're hearing solidly at this moment in time, we're going to that a bit, but with Arsenal, apparently the uncertainty around the manager, it's departures in January transfer window at the moment. Dutch forward Sidney van Hooijdonk could join his father's former club Nottingham Forest, with Swansea and Sheffield Wednesday also interested in the striker. Jerome, please tell me this kid's good, because his dad was a beast.
Yeah. His dad, he's a bit of a legend of English football, isn't he?
Pierre Van Hooijdonk.
Yeah. So what can I tell you about him? So he's 20 years old, plays up front like his old man. He actually plays in the second tier of Dutch football for a team called NAC Breda, who he's been with for a few seasons now, and he made his debut a couple of seasons ago. At youth level, like a lot of these strikers, he had an unbelievable goal scoring record. Like for the under 18s, he scored 35 times in 41 games. But this season has been his breakthrough for the first team. He scored 8 goals in 12 games. Lots of his goals, sort of typical strikers' goals, sort of in and around the 6-yard box near the penalty spot. But his dad said that when he takes free kicks, he's got like the exact same technique as him.
He had a whack on him, didn't he?
Yes, because his dad's like 6'5", and
So physically as well, you're right. He's about 6'2", 6'3". Seems like a real team player. And I think maybe a move to the Championship could be a good step for him, like because he's not coming from like the top tier. He's only played second tier in Dutch. He hasn't actually got any international caps at youth team level. So I read somewhere that they don't know if it might be a bit of a problem, sort of signing him, because most of the some rules and laws.
Because of Brexit, they might have to. There to be exceptional talents or played at youth or played for the national team.
I don't know. Sometimes there's like loopholes and ways around it, aren't there? So maybe we'll keep an eye on him. That would be a shame if he wouldn't be able to play over in England because of that. But that remains to be seen. PSG are reporting that are preparing an offer for Tottenham midfielder Dele Alli in January. There's previous talk about a loan with Dele Alli, but they're also going to be preparing for a fee as well. I think it's 30 million euros they're willing to offer Spurs for the midfielder. Dominik Szoboszlai has chosen RB Leipzig, and the latest coming out of the player. No, don't worry. Dominik Szoboszlai has chosen RB Leipzig. That will be the deal's done. That will be confirmed Tuesday, I think it is, isn't it, Steve? But we've been told that the deal for Dominik Szoboszlai is a done deal. He is going to RB Leipzig. Where am I? I've done this upside down. I'm done. No, I'm not. There we go. Manchester City and Manchester United are expected to both be to push for Borussia Dortmund forward Erling Braut Haaland. Now, little question for you: if you're Man United, are you going anywhere near a Mino Raiola player? Steve.
It's always me first, isn't it? You ask these difficult questions. For the fact,
cheers, boss.
Definitely. He's going to be the world's. He's going to be the next Lewandowski. So I know he's Minirola's. They just got to harden up a bit, haven't they? They just got to put their foot down. You know, they just got to change their negotiation skills at Manchester United.
It's pretty bad. Man United are well renowned for not having the best of negotiating skills.
But to not go for Haaland, every top club's got to sort of go for Haaland, haven't they? Surely. Yeah.
Simon, are you going anywhere near any Mino Raiola clients after the Paul Pogba issues?
No, I don't think Mino Raiola wants him to go anywhere near Man United. Never mind me trying to sign him. He's going to Manchester City.
That's what, yeah.
He's going to go to City.
Yeah.
He's going to be Aguero's new replacement.
Jerome,
Hands down.
Are you signing a Mineral player if you're Man United?
No, I don't think it's worth the hassle because you'll always just be in the back of your head like something's going to happen. So look, there's plenty of footballers out there. I'd steer clear of them. I think Gary Neville said the same thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mind you, I wouldn't mess about with him sheiks.
Yeah.
Tell you what, mess about with him.
Brendan Rodgers has told forward Damari Gray has no future at the club. Very blunt, straight to the point. Leicester and West Ham on red alert as Roma look to sell their midfielder Amadou Diawara. And Wolves are considering 17-year-old midfielder from Mainz, Marlon Ruse Trelegeau. That was in build. Steve, I think you had take on Chelsea for me, didn't you?
Yeah, just a little bit. Chelsea's main target, it's came out this week now, is Declan Rice, not David Alaba. Not to say that they still don't want Alaba, but their main concerns is that the person they want is Declan Rice. At the same time, Chelsea want out. They want so many players out. Chelsea as well, and whether they're getting these players out has something to do with with all the players that they've bought. I don't know. Bayern Munich, they still want Hudson-Odoi. They're going to revisit the options in the summer. If he continues not to get game time. If Chelsea do not want Alaba, they will have to make him the highest payer at the club, and and he's asking for 350 grand a week, so I can't see that happening.
It's got a bit. It's the next. It's next down, isn't it? It's who's going to offer. He wants 350 grand a week, yeah, but his contract runs out at the end of the season. Bayern Munich aren't going to give you that. If Chelsea ain't going to give you that, then you're going to this person who's going to give you the most, because you're not going to say, well, I can get 350 grand a week, I ain't going to sign for no one. You've got to sign for someone. So I think clubs probably need to be a bit smart about this. Like,
it's 20 grand more than Havertz. Havertz is their leading pay earner at the moment, and they'll be giving him 40,000 more a week than Havertz.
That's a statement. That is a big statement.
Yeah.
That's a.
Don't you think it's funny how he's coming out as well, Lampard, recently, or over the last few days, week, and started to big up Billy Gilmore again since the Juventus links last week, and now he started to play him again.
Oh, because he's trying to hedge his bets. He did the same thing with Giroud as well. He's trying to keep him sweet. He knows that he needs these players. Potentially, it's going to be a long season. Probably not going to bring anyone in January. So it's like you need to keep your squad. You need a squad, and that's just about managing. It's about man management, and as part of being a manager is being able to keep your fringe players happy, because eventually you're gonna need them in the season. So yeah.
Yeah. How old's Billy Gilmore?
He's 18, 19.
And how old's
I thought he was 20.
How old's Saliba?
I think 19, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Saliba's 19.
Right. Yeah.
I think he's 20 this year.
Billy Gilmore's 19. He was 19 in June, so he's just turned 19, not long 19. And William Saliba is I think he's 20, isn't he? William Saliba's 19. He was 19 in March, so he's a little bit older. They're the same age.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for William Saliba. I've been watching him in under 23s. He's been really, really, really good. He's head and shoulders above everyone on pitch. Head and shoulders.
But
just don't know why he's just not got a chance.
But he's that in between, isn't he? He might be head and shoulders above in the under 23s, but Balogun's head and shoulders in the under 23s. So
But with Saliba, I knew you'd ask this. When you watch Balogun in the under 23s, obviously he's the scorer where he's just bashing people out. He looks like he should be in the first team. With William Saliba, it's like, is this massive player on big wages and we're trying to get him out, and we've chucked him in the under-23s because he's refusing to leave. If you watch him play, he does not. It looks like he doesn't belong on that pitch with those players. When you look at Balogun, I watched Balogun for a few years in the under-23s, and a good person who we know called Simon did as well. And you watch Balogun, and you can see he's still got little bits of errors and stuff with him. With Saliba, it's like...
Because Saliba's played first team football. He's played men's football a lot more.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
But the problem is at Arsenal, it's the position that he plays in. It's the position of centre back. You know, you can't play Gabriel and Saliba at the same time.
That's it together.
So what do you do with him? No one's mentioning anything about Daniel Ballard or Zach Medley. When
Daniel Ballard's been brilliant this season.
So people should be moaning about them more than Saliba, saying why ain't they back and playing? You know, because
Zach Medley's falling off a bit. Zach Medley's falling off a tiny little bit, but he's out on loan though, isn't he? I don't think
Zach Medley's there. Like, if I'm honest, I don't think he's there.
But what I'm saying, what I'm saying, you know where I'm going with it though.
It's exactly that. It's exactly what you said, Steve. It's you can't play. And this was the problem before the season. Arsenal fans online had made a very big point of Saliba's one of the best young French defenders in the league. Young French defenders. Not one of the best defenders in the league, one of the best young defenders in the league. He only played 12 games last season. So how you can be a judge that he's the best is beyond me. And the way people talk about French football, I don't know how you can talk about French football like that in one breath, and in the next breath you're telling me that William Saliba should be starting week in, week out for Arsenal. Madness. Anyway, Arsenal started this season, up until the Man United game, with the best defence in the league. So defending was not a problem. It was going forward. So I can understand why William Saliba wasn't getting game time and wasn't getting the team, because there was not really anything wrong defensively with Arsenal. Going forward was a problem. But what this kid needs, he needs game time. He needs game time because he will go backwards. He'll regress by not playing games. He can't be a 19-year-old defender as good as he's meant to be with his potential, and his development gets stunted like it is now. He needs to get game time. He needs to be loaned out.
So do we all agree? Do we all agree that we couldn't have him as a centre partnership?
Yeah, he can't.
No, we can't. They both play on the same side.
You can't. So he's got to go. He's got to go out. And
it doesn't matter about same side. Like that's just. For years we've had right-footed defenders playing left and right. So it doesn't matter if you have a left-footed defender playing left and right. It shouldn't make any difference. But it's ideal that it works that way, but it's not essential. And even if you look at Van Dijk and Gomez, are they both left and right? I don't think they are. I think they're both right-footed centre backs. So it's not. I don't know where that even comes from.
It's not even like we've got a nut centre half. Let's say like a Van Dijk type centre half, or even a Koscielny type centre half. That's the best I can think of. Going back, and you can play Gabriel with Koscielny, and then another week you could play Saliba with Koscielny. If he's ready, if he is ready. Simon says he's ready. I don't know if he's ready, but I'll take Simon's word that he's ready. Maybe but we haven't got that. We haven't got that main big centre half where they can swap and change. So go on, mate. Sorry.
At the end of the season, Arsenal lose Mustafi, Luiz, probably going to sell one of Holding and Chambers, They need to go and get an experienced defender. Not another young one. I don't want to hear about no FIFA and champ manager and this is the next Vincent Company. I'm not interested in that. He needs to be experienced. He needs to have a few scars on his face, and he needs to have a good brain. Like, we need someone in there who's got some intelligence that can work with the defender that you've got there. With the because I don't want Gabriel to start regressing because he's now the main head in defence and he's not learned his trade because he hasn't. He's still got mistakes to make, or mistakes not to make because the person next to him is telling him, okay, wait, step back in, wait, watch there, be careful there, look over your shoulder there. These things that young defenders have around them when they're growing and playing football, man. Like that's what Arsenal are missing.
Someone like a Johnny Evans or something.
Yeah, but when Johnny Evans was touted about, it was like, oh, you're having a laugh. But there's a reason why Man City.
I did not move to the Emirates for Johnny Evans.
Yeah, and that's the kind of attitude people have. But people forget where we are now. People forget the Champions League for years.
But do you think like we had the conversation?
We'll be down before trimmings.
We had the conversation last week, and me and you had a chat on the blower. When we were talking about that, we've got to buy players at a certain level.
Yeah.
We're not going to buy them players. We've got to buy these players.
Yeah,
you know, and then when these players are decent players, then they'll get us here, and that's when you'll be able to buy that type of player.
I think what it is now is we're in a situation.
Premier League proven.
Yeah, exactly that. We're in a situation now where we seem to be wasting a lot of time on these players that they're not really interested in coming to us. If it's a lot, it's like a no. Do they want me? Do they want me? Arsenal are still there, but there's these other clubs. They might get me, but no, they're wasting time. Arsenal need to go out and get, as I just said, Premier League proven players that want to come to Arsenal. That are good enough. The next step that will take you to, because right now we're sitting in 15th, 6th to 4th. Yeah. Then that next step from 4th, you get in players and above that, which you'll get naturally because you're in the Champions League. Right now,
you've got rid of 4 players, right? You can bring in 3 players in January. Premier League proven. Who would you buy?
Jerome.
All right. Premier League.
I've got 3.
If I can get rid of any players.
Yeah, money's no option.
What? No, silly. Yeah, but
you've got rid of 4 players. We've got rid of 4 players.
Bring in 3 players, but we're talking about players.
Realistically,
we're talking about players
anywhere, any Premier League players.
Wait, think about players that are in that bracket. Yeah, they're going to take you up. You can't be taking. Can't say. Yeah, I'm going to take.
I'll have Fernandes and De Bruyne.
No, I don't mean. I mean, within people won't give up.
Yes. No. I'm just trying to make sure everyone knows what book we're reading from. All right.
I'll explain. I'll explain it. Do you remember when Liverpool were doing the 10th and the 11th and the 7th? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who were they buying players off? Left, right, and centre.
Well, let's not get into that because they bought Andy Carroll and Charlie Adams. But
I'll start off for God's sake. I'll start off.
They did manage to get Suarez.
No. Before that, I'm talking about Southampton. They
yeah. You used to take Southampton's players.
People
Ricky Lambert.
They're crap. Why are they buying in? They come from Southampton.
Who are you buying, Si?
I'm buying Lamptey from Brighton. No offence if any Brighton fans are watching.
Good
with
player.
Arsenal. I'm buying Wilfred Ndidi from Leicester. No offence, Leicester.
Player.
You're higher than us. We're Arsenal. And then I'm buying Wilfred Zaha from Crystal Palace. No offence, Palace. We're Arsenal. 3 Premier League players that all will improve your team. You have a better right back. You have strength in midfield with Partey as the box-to-box, with Wilfred Ndidi as the DM. Not all we've got. And you've got Zaha, who's Premier League proven and is an actual left winger. So you don't have to play Saka all the time.
All right. Steve, who are you bringing in?
I wouldn't. I mean, I agree with Simon about Lamptey. He's class, but I think if you're talking about getting rid of Bellerin, which I assume what many of us are saying recently, I think we've got a good enough right back there already. So, but that's just my opinion. I think Cedric Suarez, he ain't let us down at all since he's came. But
he'd be my backup to Lamptey.
Yeah, I would have had Decore. I would have had him next to. I don't know why we didn't get him in. I didn't know why we didn't get him in the first place. How Everton got him in front of that? I don't know, or why the
They're not targets, Steve. They're not targets. They're not targets.
And I think we need. I'd have Danny Ings.
Oh yeah.
And I'd have Premiership. Yeah, I agree with Simon. But it was Zaha.
You would say Zaha. It's common sense, though, isn't it? It is common sense. Pepe, Zaha, winger, Aubameyang, striker.
Zaha, Ings, and Decore.
And do you know what? You get with these players as well. You get that sort of. They've not got. It's not that they've got something to prove, but they appreciate being bought by the big club.
They want to come to us.
Yeah, Danny Ings went to Liverpool and had a lot of injuries, so he's got a point to prove that he can do it at a big club. Wilfried Zaha was dying to go to Arsenal. Again, went to Man United, wants to prove that he could do it at a big club. Wilfried Ndidi, he's played in the Premier League, and I think he just play whatever club he plays at. He's just doing the business.
You said 4. Could we have 4?
I said 3. No, I said 3.
You've sold 4.
No. Do you know what? Yeah, no, you said 4, didn't you? You said 4, so I'm just going to add someone else. No cheating.
Not changing.
Jerome.
If I could sign 3 players, I'd probably sign 2 central midfielders. I don't know who, and maybe Grealish. But I would put all my efforts into that part of the pitch.
Jack Grealish.
Into the centre midfield. I'd sign 2, maybe 3 centre midfielders because the midfield is probably the worst in the league, and without a half-decent midfield, you're not going to get anywhere.
What's happened to us, man?
So I'd sign 2 or 3 centre midfielders.
Do you remember when Arsenal's midfield was all we had? When we used to be, you wouldn't be nothing about these two. You wouldn't be nothing about these two. Look, all you is a tiki-taka team. That's all it is. Nice to look at.
Apart from Partey, the other centre midfielders are Xhaka, Ceballos. Oh, okay, Willock, Ceballos, and
El
Nene. What would they get in the transfer market between all of them?
You look at 20.
Which one's Joe?
Forget Willock. Xhaka, El Nene, and Ceballos. All 3 of them together. What do they get?
Xhaka 15.
Honestly.
15. El Nene 5.
Do you know how bad that is, though? Because, Steve, we were talking about selling Xhaka for like 30 million to Hertha Berlin only last season.
I know.
This is a sad state of affairs. How do players come to our team and they go down in value?
Yeah.
They leave us, and they go to Heights.
How is it possible?
But that's the problem why with other players, they look at us and that's why other players think, oh, we're in for this player. Arsenal want us. And they look at us and they must think, nah, you're all right.
Well, it's like Kevin said.
Leicester.
Dominic's Szoboszlai, Arsenal or Leipzig. I'm not being funny. There's no really option to pick, is there? You're picking Arsenal. That's not what anymore. We think. He's looking at that now and he's going, I'm staying away from there. I'll be happy to go to Leipzig. Foreign players don't look at us. They don't look at us anymore to come to us.
The thing is,
Man United, foreign players don't look at Man United to go to Man United, but English players do. And that's because what they know of Man United.
What's yours, Kieran? What's yours?
I don't know how appealing Arsenal would be for Jack Grealish anymore. But he's one player. I know you mentioned him yesterday, Steve. He's one player I'd love at Arsenal because he's got that. He's got that mixture of. He's got that mixture of everything. He's a bit of Jack Wilshere. He's a bit of the Mesut Ozil. He's a bit of a Santi Cazorla. He could just dictate play. He could play deeper. I've seen him play deeper. I've seen him play a lot more forward. And he's the kind of the new number 10 where he can do a bit of everything in midfield, but he really is attacking. He can also play on the wings as well. Yeah.
See, this is one thing I will say, mate, with Grealish. If you can remember, I said if he went to a bigger club, he would actually get swallowed up, and that Aston Villa's his limit. Tell you what he's done with Villa and what he's done with England, he's actually shut me up.
Yeah,
because he's stepped up massively. He's scoring off the pitch and he's scoring on the pitch. The guy's doing it all. Jack
Grealish. I mean, the thing is, it's not. maybe you go to extremes with your descriptions, but it's not. It sounds like Daleks trying to break in. It's not. It's not. You can't be too wrong in thinking that a player that's come from the Championship looks good in the Championship, but will get found out in the Premier League. It's a different level. You've seen it with a lot of players that look brilliant in the Championship, unstoppable, and in the Premier League they're good players, but they've got a lot of learning to do. They've got a lot of growing to do. Jack Grealish in his first,
Phillips from Leeds.
Yeah, Jack Grealish in his first season, in the Premier League, showed a different side of his game. He showed more teamwork, more grit, more defensive work. And he's playing with England, and he looks like one of the top players for England as well. So he's one player I'd definitely be bringing in.
Sorry, mate, go on.
As for a right back, I could see why you'd want to bring in a right back because Lapti looks really good, but I don't think it's a position that is needed. I think you could sell Bellerin and quite easily play Ainsley there. You could quite easily play Cedric. I think that Ainsley not even getting a run in the team is quite criminal. But is that because he wants to play in the midfield role, which seems to be the position that he seems to be brought on at each time? So I don't know. I'm just guessing there. I'm bringing a Danny Ings, like 100%, and
centre back as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I was going to go for a centre back.
You've had three.
No, I haven't.
You've had three. Yes, you have. Grealish. And then you picked someone at right back. Oh, no, it's Suarez, didn't you?
No, I said that we don't need to bring in. I said you could sell Bellerin and you've got two right backs there already. I think it does. Oh my God, I think it does need to be a defender. I'm just trying to think. I can't even think.
It's
a tough one.
It's too much money, but I'd sign the one from Leicester.
Sionchu.
You just
bully as well, isn't he? Sionchu. There we go.
Sionchu. I was waiting for Kieran to see if he said it.
Yeah, Sionchu.
We were linked with him, but we signed Socrates instead.
Yeah, don't say things like that.
That's the team we should be looking at. We've got to look at players like from Leeds and players like that at the moment. Maybe Phillips, someone like him, or Bundia of Norwich. These type of players that I think we've got to look at.
Yeah, because they're all workers. Did you see that stat? When Leeds United played Chelsea are the first team in 2 years to outrun Leeds United. That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Arsenal need a lot. Yeah, wow. We just sunk into an Arsenal hole for about 15 minutes. Sorry, everyone in the comment section. Depressing times. All right. Lyric Lock. Latest Arteta sack news. No, nothing, mate. There's links to Allegri. There's probably been conversations with Allegri. But look, yeah, I think we'll see in the next few games what happens there. Edu Fraud Watch, thank you for coming in. Hack God, he's leaving in January. Simon, you're up. Oliver Martin, Hack God 321, Robin Lair, Peter G, what's up? OMOE4, how you doing? Signings made. Just a bit of my fault. How come the signings made by Raul have been frozen out? Just my 2 pence faults. Have they? What is it? Saliba was a player that Raul brought in.
Saliba, Pepe.
I think that's just coincidence. Look, we've got to remember, that Pepe before the yellow card was essentially getting his opportunity to get a run in the team, and then since then has played every European game because he ain't been able to play in the Premier League. So we can only make a judgment on the Pepe thing once Pepe is actually allowed to come and play, which is the next game against Southampton on Wednesday. So we'll soon see there whether Arteta has frozen Pep out of the team. I can't say that he has, if I'm honest. The things that you hear that has been spoken about tells me that he hasn't. It was just a case of just bad timing. It was Lacazette. Yeah, it was Lacazette. Yeah. Again, Jerome, how bad was that miss?
Yeah, he should have scored. It wasn't like an open goal, but he
was
hit
there any
it
more
right at the
opportunities in the
keeper.
second half?
Yeah, before Xhaka got sent off.
I think you need to. Sorry, Jerome. I think you need to give your thing a little twizzle, mate. I think it might be your one.
Hello.
That's it. It's gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it okay?
That's it. Yeah.
Before Xhaka got sent off, Arsenal looked like they were going to score, but once he got sent off, it all went to pot.
Yeah.
What did he get sent off for? Were it a stupid thing or two yellows?
He grabbed someone's throat.
Oh, fuck.
What?
Basically, he fouled someone, typical Xhaka foul, and then one of the guys got annoyed with him. Then another guy came over and he sort of he went like that for like maybe half a second, and it went to VAR. The ref went and had a look and sent him off.
Was it a sending off?
You can't put your hand on someone.
You can't touch someone, can you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh
Yeah,
God, I
also,
hate him so much.
They should have had another one because El Nene did something similar in the box, maybe with 10-15 minutes to go.
This is frustration, isn't it? Kicking. Oh, for God's sake.
The thing is, everybody out there as well. It ain't about. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is about that, but there's a lot going on at Arsenal, and it's
deeper.
It's a lot deeper than that, and I think it goes back to, football these days. You need this, and you've got and you do need that. And unless you're given that as a starting point, then you're never going to know how good your other players are or how they're going to be, because that's the new era of football. I'm afraid.
Like if you can't look at. Okay, this team might not be a team that's like on paper that should be sitting in 15th, but there's no way you're looking at this team and saying this team on paper is a team that's contemplating challenging for top four. Is a team that's could get into top six, but that is that what Arsenal were aiming for? Arsenal weren't aiming at the start of the season to get in top six. Arsenal were all talking about getting to top four. We didn't bring in the players.
I mean, to be honest with you, if you take the top 6 to top 7 who are who are going for Champions League or going for the title, we can see the class of Gabriel and Tierney, but they wouldn't be playing every week if it was at those clubs. They wouldn't be playing.
Yeah. Not week in, week out.
Gabriel wouldn't be playing. Tierney wouldn't be playing. They'd be playing every other week, and they'd be getting stronger and stronger and better and better. And you wouldn't have a 22-year-old as your mainstay centre back if you're going for the Championship. Or
Nathan Ake has been bought for 40 million by Manchester City, and he is a rotation player. He came in his first 2 games and was excellent. As soon as Laporte came back, and as soon as Diaz came in, they're the 2 centre backs. Boom. That's what a team does. And this is a team, that weren't sure about Pep. They weren't sure whether this was the long-term future of Manchester City, whether they might want to go a different avenue. It came across their mind. Yet they still backed him and brought in two top defenders, a top up-and-coming left winger that's world-renowned as one of the best up-and-coming youngsters who's played games. And this is a team that didn't get all the players they wanted either. But they got in the right players. Yes,
I mean, Tottenham brought in that young kid, didn't they? I mean, he looks like he's going to be a good player, didn't he? That Rondon. He's not their main centre back, though, is he?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's sitting out. He's sitting on the bench learning because he's got good enough players.
He's got Toby Alderweireld.
Yeah, and Dyer, and who's turned into Van Dijk overnight. I don't know what's the matter with him. And they've all turned into new players. But you look at Chelsea's, and like with Rudiger or it's Silva. You don't have to be. You can be 36, 37 years old in that position. But I don't know. Our young kids are just going to get burnt out, and they're not going to be the players that we all hope them to be because they're playing every week. That's what I think, anyway.
Thank you very much, Oliver Martin. Thank you for coming in and watching. Make sure everyone likes and subscribes. Make sure you go and follow these guys. That's Simon, Jerome, Steve, and Nathan, obviously. Go and follow the Transfer Exchange Show, Instagram and Twitter. Again, make sure you like and subscribe to Transfer Exchange Show, KS1 TV. More shows will be coming soon, hopefully in the new year. Got plenty coming up. Next week, we're going to have a Manchester City Football's Next Generation with Jerome Marks. That's coming out next week. Make sure, like I said, like, subscribe, share, all the above. Thank you for joining us this week. Oh, stress Arsenal calls me is too much. Peace out. I haven't got these boys to say goodbye. Thank you very much for tonight, Simon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers. I'd rather do this than watch that pile of rubbish.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you tonight.
Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to get your teams ready for next week.
Oh, yeah. Go on. Thank you very much, Jerome. Thank you for tonight.
Cheers. Thank you.
And next week edition, yes, please, everyone in the comment section. I know you're still there, yeah? Show me some life, all right? Next week's edition, we're going to be picking the best Premier League 11 so far this season. So you guys get your Premier League teams ready. We're going to get our teams ready. We're going to do a 4-4-2 formation, and we're going to pick the best team. We're going to get opinions from us five. It will be us four and Nathan as well. And if the comment section's buzzing as well with their inputs in players, we'll get your selection in that team if it overrides our one as well. So it'll be like a kind of viewer interaction kind of thing for next week as well. So it should be good for a little Christmas special. Thank you very much for everyone joining us tonight. Peace.